Ball first and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Seahawks. Sean goes right, has a cutback lane, and he does. He's across the 20, the 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes. Are they going to catch him? 40, 35, 30. Touchdown, Seahawks!
12, they're bringing the trophy home. Your Seahawks, Super Bowl 48 champions.
Holy catfish! Baldwin's going to throw back to Russell. He's got it! Touchdown! Seahawks! Are you kidding me?
Let's Hawk It Out with your hosts Kevin Porter and Rich Harris.
You better get this podcast going because I don't want to get caught offside. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Hawk It Out. As always, Kevin Porter here, joined by my co-host with the most. We got Rich Harris in the house. What's up, buddy?
That's right. What's happening? Feeling great after that win. We came back home and read ourselves like we were hoping we would. And I'm feeling pretty good over here on this end. I'm glad to see that my team is starting to represent and show who they really are, who they're going to be. So pretty neat stuff.
Well, your Seattle Seahawks, ladies and gentlemen, our win yesterday, 37-27 over the Carolina Panthers, improving to 2-1, going 1-1 at home, and by God, what a fucking victory yesterday, Rich. You break down each quarter. I mean, again, Seahawks games, we always start off a little bit slow. You know, it's just kind of expected when it comes to our team, it seems. And by the second half, man, I mean, it was night and day compared to that last home game against Los Angeles Rams, dude. The Seahawks, dare I say, are they here to play and stay? I don't know, man. I was pretty pumped after yesterday's game.
Yeah, definitely. And my one word for the game on this particular one is going to be noise, because the crowd was full of noise when we really needed them. I don't know how many false starts they had, but they had at least 4 or 5.
It was
okay,
8.
yeah, Jesus.
8
yeah,
false starts yesterday, Rich.
I think they set a negative franchise record for themselves. Carolina did, with all those false starts. So again, and then the 12s brought the noise, and so did the team. Gino looking sharp, throwing bullets at people, spreading the ball around like you can't believe. I mean, he was going to Tyler, he was going to DK, he was going to Noah Fant, he was going to both tight ends, well, Noah and Colby Parkinson. And but like you said, we kind of got it started kind of slow, but at least Jason Myers was on. We had 4 field goals in the first half, and then the first score of the second half was also the field goal, which is totals for his 5, I believe.
They made comments during during the actual game on the commentators and whatnot. They were like, "Oh, you know, this crowd, you know, they want to see touchdowns. They're used to seeing touchdowns." Because
yeah.
I mean, it was getting a little frustrating there at the beginning, through those series of field goals, because you know, we would get within the red zone, and then somehow we would just kind of screw up, and we'd end up on 4th down. We'd have to get, like you said, though, Jason Myers was on point yesterday, so it was a little it was back and forth, you know, from the very get-go, 3-3, 6-3, you know, we're give and take. Andy Dalton, which, I mean, they talked about how back in the day, a season opener when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals, they came into Lumen Field and, you know, he put up his career passing yardage for a game in Lumen Field, you know, so he definitely most of the time hasn't seemed rattled when he's come to Seattle, but damn, by the end of the game yesterday, dude, they were not connecting whatsoever, dude. I mean, you talk about our defense stepping up, considering the fact that we had so many starters out with our pass rush, that they were able to come in yesterday, and I mean, I don't want to say lights out, because again, they scored on us, and they, you know, obviously they had the one blown coverage with Mike Jackson at one point during the game. But nonetheless, though, dude, I mean, there was a lot of 3 and outs. You know, actually, I should say they connected a lot on those on those 3rd downs. But nonetheless, though, it seemed like by the end of it, I mean, even though they got a couple, conversions and whatnot, and kept moving down the field, I mean, our defense still stood tall by the end of the day.
Yeah, and Dalton was 3-1 against us for all the various teams that he played on. So he was 3 wins, 1 loss to us. So he had the head, you know, he was ahead of us, and he had advantage going in. When I heard that Bryce Young wasn't playing and that Dalton was going to start, I'm like, man, I'd rather have the rookie in there, you know, to be honest. But yeah, at the same time, I think the 12s got them going too. Whenever they get those false starts like that and stuff, that really gives a boost to the defense. Everything just started to roll once we scored that first touchdown in the second half. And then we started to kind of start clicking a little bit, and the defense was clicking as well. I think our time of possession was probably better, which helps the defense to rest a little bit more, as we know. So that could have contributed. But how about K9 and Charbonnet? They both looking
Oh
great.
man. Oh
I mean,
man.
K9's bringing out his moves. He's got a spin move he's doing. And boy, as soon as he gets past her, finds that hole, his burst is off the chain. I mean, he just takes off. Charbonnet, that guy is definitely a downhill runner like they explained him to be. And he was running downhill left and right, and he had a couple of hard hits on some guys. He was laying those hits. I was like, okay, imagine this guy continues to lift weights and stuff on a professional football team now, and as he gets bigger, what he's going to be like. Man, I'm excited for that guy because it's the 1-2 punch we're talking about. And then speaking of a UCLA rookie, the other UCLA rookie, Jake Bobo, got his first touchdown.
He got his touchdown. He got his first
That
touchdown
was so
in the
fucking
NFL.
awesome. Oh, dude, I was jumping up and down because I couldn't wait for that moment. I wanted him to show that he's contributing to the team as basically that true number 4, I guess. But he made the team, and he's proven why. They're keeping him more involved, and I want to see him be more involved because he's an exciting guy, and he likes to bring the noise as well.
No, he totally brought it, dude, with that touchdown pass. I mean, you could hear the crowd. They're like, "Bo, Bo!"
Oh yeah,
Bo,
yeah.
Bo. It's such a unison name, dude. I mean, it just brings the crowd together when that moment does happen.
It's like a nickname.
Touchdown. Yeah,
we
and it's his real last name.
That is his nickname.
It's built in. I want to go back to talking about K9 and Charbonnet.
Yeah,
Charbonnet. Dude, when Charbonnet like stood that dude up. Like dude, when he just stood up and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Like everybody just like I remember, like I told you beforehand, I didn't get to watch the game live yesterday. I was at the fair with my family, so I didn't finish this game until about midnight last night. And dude, when that play happened, I was sitting up in bed. My wife's laying next to me, going to sleep and stuff, and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" And like I woke her up out of a dead sleep right there. And it was just like, dude, it was such a one of those moments where you're just like, "Let's go, dude!" Like, so many moments where I was just like so pumped watching especially our offense drive down the field because Gino, obviously he had the one interception in there, but dude, I mean, like if there's one thing, like Gino has been able to pull himself out of like whatever they have been getting themselves into. Like Gino has been able to answer every single time, dude, despite the first game, obviously. But you go back to last week against the Lions, this week against Carolina, like he's responding very, very well. And I mean, maybe we have to go back to that Bobby Wagner speech a week or so ago. Damn, dude, it feels good to be a Seattle Seahawks fan right now. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. And Gino's just got composure. I mean, if something happens to him negatively, you don't really see it affect him. If it does, you just see more drive on his face and maybe some quarterbacks get frustrated and go pout on the sideline or something. He's the opposite of that. If he's going to get frustrated, his frustration is going to lead to how am I going to fix this? Because that's not me. But he looked sharp, and he didn't even have to run the ball that often. Speaking of backups and depth, I mean, we still had both starting tackles out, and Gino still seemed to have a decent amount of time, and he really didn't need to scramble. I remember the announcer saying at one point, he can run, he can bootleg out of there. Don't forget, he's got speed, he's got wheels, and he's supposed to be a little faster this year. But it's nice to see him staying and maintaining his presence or his pocket presence and allowing that line to block for him so he can get more reads. And boy, he was slinging the ball around a little bit yesterday, and that's always fun to watch.
Yeah, anytime you can see Gino just stay in the pocket and do his thing, dude. Because you talk about the commentators and like what they were talking about during the game and stuff, and they talked about. I think, and again, I don't know who those two dudes were. I've never really seen. Obviously, we had the B game of the weekend.
We didn't get Steve Rival. Yeah, I wish we had a little selector. We could just select if we wanted Steve Rival or if we wanted,
Yeah, when you it sucks when you try to sync up the radio and it's just on such a delay. It makes it unwatchable unless you like.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, but like they were talking about Geno Smith like in his rookie year and just like how impressed they were with just him just the will to be better. I think maybe is a good way of putting it. I think the will to just again, to become the best NFL quarterback that he can be. And I really feel, man, these last 2 seasons within Seattle. I mean, obviously last year, the beginning point, with that being his first starting job in 10, 12 years or whatever it was.
Right.
And going into this season, dude, I mean, the last 2 games, again, dude, knock on wood, man, but we got something going here, and we're going into Monday Night Football prime time next week, dude, against the Giants. So hopefully Gino just keeps ascending up, dude, because I mean it's nothing but good things in my opinion at this moment.
Yeah, I think the rest of the team is obviously as well is going to follow right along in his footsteps as they start to gel and get that chemistry that we talk about. But yeah, I mean, I still think we're going to see the best of them. Obviously, that is a good taste of what they're made of, but we still have yet to see the best, which is even more exciting. But yeah, as far as defense, if you want to switch over to defense now, man, look, did you see the difference with Witherspoon? I mean, I'm not saying he had a bad first debut game. He just had a few learning moments like we talked about as a rookie. But man, yesterday he looked like a straight up pro. Brother.
Yeah,
he was just laying hits, and his coverage was just blanket coverage. Just stick his hand in there when he need to, pop the ball out a little bit, catch up to a guy if the guy burned him, and get in there and disrupt the play. Thoroughly impressed with him, and talk about hitting somebody hard. I seen him just lay a guy out. Like the guy, it was a receiver, and he came up and hit him and just stood there like a brick wall, and the receiver fell on the sideline, and it took him a minute to get up. So Spoon's bringing it, and he's exciting to see. And then I think we had a few sacks in there, didn't we? I know Jerron Reed had at least one sack.
I think they had at least two sacks in there. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and it looks like we're still stopping the run pretty well. As far as I know, I don't know if you have the yards per carry on that for the other team, but we still have a fair amount of missed tackles, especially when they matter most in that open field. And I know those are the harder ones to do, but those are the ones that matter most. So you need to break down. And I'm not a professional, so I don't know exactly what happens every time. You're not always going to get them, but I wish they could work on those because they get those one-on-ones, and it just takes one guy, he jukes him, and he's gone. And again, those are the harder ones to take care of. But in general, we just need to work more on the tackling techniques, I believe, because we're still getting a lot of missed tackles.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I really feel that, yeah, like you said, like in the open areas, we are struggling a little bit, but that solid run though, we are getting to them a lot quicker than we were last year. And I think that's something that we really do got to give, the coaches and the team props on. Cause man, that was just, I mean, it was, again, I hate to use this term again, but night and day, dude. It was night and day compared to that game last season, which was a game very late in the season, week 14 against Carolina last year. They came into Lumen, dude, and embarrassed us.
Yeah, didn't they run the hell out of the ball on us and everything?
Yeah, it was just, but not yesterday. I mean, their quarterback
started to look like it. I'm starting to think, man, we got to get away from these guys, right? That's what I didn't like. It started to look like, like you said, wait a second, wait, because we weren't really moving away from them, and they were just staying neck and neck. They were scoring the touchdowns and we weren't. And that's when it started getting kind of scary when all we're getting is field goals. And then they start popping off a couple of touchdowns before we even get our first one. I'm thinking, oh no.
It was a little scary there. Like I said, like that when we kept trading field goals and they did score the first touchdown. And I think that may have been off the interception. If I'm mistaken, I don't know. People can correct me in the comments, whatever. But it was definitely, you're kind of just going back and forth. And again, like it's much like the Lions game, much like the Rams game. It's a very wait see approach when it comes to these Seahawks games. Again, but again, that's that, like, I wouldn't have it any other way, Rich. Like, I really do feel just as a fan, like, what more can you ask for? This riveting television, riveting action, these dudes coming in and dueling. It's a game of chess, Pete Carroll versus, I don't know the name of the Carolina coach, but it's against that guy. And they're able to just Pete Carroll's able to outmaneuver in regards to, the plays. And it's just, when you see a whole game like that, dude, and you see the end results, like, honestly, that was the most fun I've had watching a Seahawks game in a long time, dude. In a long time. It was that great of a performance, in my opinion.
It was a good one. And again, it's a good reminder to us fans, or a breath of fresh air as compared to that first game that we had at home, which was just like eye-opening and concerning.
Which you called it last week, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To redeem. Yeah. To give the fans some redemption. And they did. And they did, and the fans were right there with them. Those 12s, you could just tell, especially when the false starts speak for themselves. I mean, 8 false starts. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's amazing. I don't know if that's a record for us or not. I'm sure we've done more than that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
The theme of the game was the Super Bowl reunion, and so they had all the players back there. KJ Wright made a speech at halftime and had all the players behind him, and that was kind of neat too. I wanted to point that out, before we button this thing up here.
Yeah, and no Russell Wilson. Obviously, he was down in Miami.
Right.
I was on Instagram today, and I gotta say this really quick, but there was and I wish I had the comment in front of me to give the guy credit, but there was a comment at the very top where it said, "Nice enough for Russell to have the Broncos get blown out in honor of the Seahawks 10-year anniversary of winning the Super Bowl, dude, because they got blown the fuck out yesterday, dude. 70-10 or whatever it was, 70-20." Like literally,
70
dude.
points for one team is I don't even know if I've ever seen
Dolphins,
that in my
bro.
lifetime. Have you ever seen 70 points from one team?
They said they were like
an NBA team.
They were one field goal away from breaking the record. The Dolphins were, and respectfully, they ended up not good. They had the opportunity to break the all-time record for a game, but they respectfully declined apparently, and just whatever. Right. I mean, I don't know. It couldn't have happened to a better quarterback, Russell Wilson, dude. Damn, dude. I mean, like, Sean Payton's Denver Broncos are not off to a hot start, dude. I think they're pretty much 0-3 as well, just like the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, their defense is not really good at all. So that's just, too bad.
Well, I guess Russ actually had a pretty good day from what I heard, but nonetheless, though, it was nice to see, like you said, though, it was nice that they're celebrating 10 years since the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl at Super Bowl 48, defeating, Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Again, dude, I know we're winding this episode down, but like, I just can't get over the feeling of, watching the team perform yesterday and just the excitement level that it brings when you see the team like clicking and stuff, and you hear Pete Carroll every single week, man. He's like, it just takes a little bit of, it's just that there's a little bit of wiggle room here. If this had gotten a little bit better, we would have the results we're looking for. And I feel like, we are starting to see those results finally within the last 2 games at least. And again, obviously very early in the season. I don't want to be overextending my reaction at this point here, but again, like, damn, dude, if we did not see vast improvements since week 1 already, Rich.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, there's just those little things that you need to improve on. And the more you improve on those little things that are going wrong, the better off you see the things start to go right. And that's what we're starting to see. So let's just see that. Let's hope that they can keep that consistency going into next week into New York to play the New York Giants. Primetime Monday Night Football. So again, coach will get him out there probably on Saturday, maybe even Friday. He gets him out there early, and that's why he's got a great road record as compared to that old curse that we used to have. And so I'm not too worried about the road too much. And I'm not too worried about primetime because the Seahawks usually do good in primetime on the road, if I remember correctly. The Giants are, they're a little bit here and there. They're not a bad team by all means. So, we got to have our A game just like any season or any week. They always call it week 1 or week, whatever. It's just one game at a time. Exactly. So I'm looking forward to them going in there and continuing to show us how they're improving, because if we are the same team and maybe a little improved as we were this last week here, I think we can go in there and get a win. I really can. I really do.
Well, I definitely want to believe the same thing, Rich. And again, mentioning the Seahawks Seattle Super Bowl win, I mean, MetLife Stadium, bro. I mean, that's where that's where it all went down, dude. So we have a pretty good record extending the last 10 years in that stadium. So hopefully that luck continues going into Monday Night Football. Obviously, our show, the little podcast that could, Rich Harris, Let's Talk It Out. We'll be coming out a little bit later next week with Monday Night Football. So probably see everybody next Tuesday, the day after. But with that being said, dude, final thoughts, any other words of wisdom you got for the 12s out there, Rich?
Excuse me. Take my breath away there, Kevin. No, put me on the spot. I'm just kidding. No, I really have nothing else. I just want us to go in there. And I was just thinking maybe that's why they had this Super Bowl reunion the week before, so that we can get that hype and that vibe going of, now that you said it, we're going back to that same stadium. Is that where we played them at? Or
that's where we played it. That's where we won our Super Bowl title. Yes.
Well, there you go then. All right. Well, then that's probably set up by design. So that's awesome. But other than that, I don't have much else. We'll see everybody on Tuesday, and hopefully we're talking about a win. so that we can keep these big happy smiles on our face the rest of the season.
That's right, Rich. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, before we get out of here, hey man, if you haven't taken the time, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, comment. Let's build this podcast up so we can be a community together and we can all embrace the Seahawks and what they stand for, and that's hopefully a winning culture. So yeah. I guess yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe and comment.
Professional fans, that's all we were. We're not professional podcasters, but we'll do our best to make it a nice, pleasant show. So yeah, that's all we got.
There you go, Rich Harris. All right, well, again, I'm Kevin Porter for Rich Harris. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
All right.
Can you win a game in the first quarter? No! Can you win the game in the second quarter? No! Can you win the game in the third quarter? No! Can you win the game in the fourth quarter?